All right, so the Bears play the Chiefs this Sunday, and we're going to lose 38-10. Goodbye.
A few moments later.
That should do it. 41-10. Chiefs going to go to 2-1.
I don't even know what to say anymore. 41-10. I mean, you guys saw the clip. I made a joke about this last week. A 38-10 blowout win. I changed it to 31-10, thinking it wouldn't be that bad. You know, maybe Justin Fields, after his press conference, after he made that statement saying he was going to play his own game, he was going to trust his own instincts, that maybe things would be different. Nope. As a matter of fact, they were worse. I'm gonna be honest with you, it was much worse. I'm at a loss for words, guys. I don't know what to say anymore because this is the third game of the season. I know we still have 14 more games, but I don't think, for as long as I've been a Bears fan, this is the first time where I felt that within the first 3 weeks of the season, that is practically over. I mean, what is there to look forward to now? I mean, the team is terrible. The defense is terrible. The coaching is terrible. The quarterback is terrible now. No, at least we know that for sure now. Everything is just, there is nothing about this team that is good. Our run defense is still terrible. Our secondary is still bad. And don't even get me started on the injuries. The offensive line is terrible. And even when they were healthy, they were still bad. Everything is terrible with this team. This organization, this franchise, it just kills NFL players. We used to say it just killed quarterbacks. Now it just kills NFL players in general. You saw everybody in the game getting injured, walking into the locker room, walking into the blue tent. Honestly, they might have just been quitting on us. Honestly, and I wouldn't blame them. I would not blame them at all if that was just them quitting on us. I mean, the effort was just dead from the first drive. After they scored, it was game over after that. We had no fight at all. The Chiefs did whatever they wanted to us. The defense did whatever they wanted. The quarterback, Mahomes, hell, even Matt Nagy calling the plays, put 41 on our heads. In a season that we had so much high hopes that right now, if this season had gone as Bears fans and other fans had predicted, or at least maybe sort of guessed, we might have beat the Chiefs. We might have stayed competitive. We would have won those first two games against the Packers and Bucs. We all predicted that we would win. We lost. I don't think many of us predicted to beat the Chiefs, but at least make it close, or at least make it competitive, even if we lost 23-45 or something, 23-38. I would have taken that. I mean, we know the Chiefs are a much better team than us, but 41-10. Guys, there's a difference between getting beat by a team that's just better than you, and there's nothing you could really do about it, and just getting flat out embarrassed on live television. I mean, we didn't even look prepared. It's like we spent the entire week saying, you know what? We're not even going to do anything this week. We lost. It's Patrick Mahomes. Look at our past two games. We're going against worse teams. We're not going to beat this team. Matt Eberflus, what are you doing to prepare your players? Luke Getsy, what are you doing in your free time to game plan against these defenses? It's not even the Chiefs defense, the Packers and the Bucs. These are not like top 5 defenses. We're not going against the 49ers or the Eagles. We're going against teams that are okay at best in terms of defense. They're not a top 5 unit. The Chiefs are not top 5. The Packers weren't top 5, and the Bucs aren't top 5 either. But we're getting destroyed like they are. What is going on? What is the coaching doing? What are they doing in their free time to prepare us, to prepare our team to face these other teams? Because right now it seems like we just sit there all week, just on our phones or doing God knows what. And we're just out here every Sunday for our weekly embarrassment session. I mean, oh my God. Bears fans, at this point, we all collectively need therapy for how much we're going to have to go through at the end of the season. I might lose all my hair by week 16. I might have a bald head by the end of the season just because of how much stress and pain that this franchise puts me through and puts the rest of the Bears franchise through. This organization is crap. And that's an understatement, to be honest. It is so terrible how bad, how far we have fallen. I mean, yeah, I know last season we were the worst team in the league. You know, maybe it was foolish of us to think that we were going to be a playoff team or even a borderline playoff team. But I at least expected something similar to the Lions last year. You know, when they started off bad, or the season before last year, the 2021 season, you know, where they were pretty terrible, and then they made some strides and actually became good. But we've done something that is like, it's unbelievable to imagine. We did worse, or we're doing worse this year than last year. We were a 3-win team last year, guys. Our one bright spot on our team was Justin Fields towards the second half of the season, of course. But we had one bright spot in the team last year being Justin Fields, and we didn't think it could get any worse than that. The bar was set extremely low for us because of our 3-win season last year. And even when the bar was pretty much all the way at the ground, we still found a way to get even lower, grab a shovel and dig under that hole to go even lower than the bar. Unbelievable. 3 wins, and honestly, guys, I don't see another win on our schedule. Maybe the Panthers. I don't see... We go against Denver, and yeah, they got 70 put up on their heads, which is absolutely crazy, but even then, they still put up at least 20 points. Even in the game where they got absolutely destroyed and got 70 points dropped on their head, they put up 20 points. More than our 10 points. I don't even see a win against them. And we're at home against Russell Wilson. We're going to somehow... If we made Baker Mayfield look like a top 5 QB, imagine what Russell Wilson's going to do with it. And I know he's washed or whatever. He's not as good as he was when he was back in Seattle. But I have absolutely zero faith in this team. I have zero faith. I know some of you guys may be saying it's too early, but you know what? In a season where we had such high hopes, in a season where things were supposed to turn around, maybe not right away, maybe if we were underperforming just a little bit, maybe if we were losing games by like 1 possession or 1 score, like maybe by like 3 points or so, or we're staying competitive in the game like the Chiefs, maybe, you know, I would still have more hope. But it's like we're just getting destroyed on every area of the game. And now, for the first time, honestly, since I can remember, this is a season where you can't really look at anything and say this is going right. Even last year, like I said, even last year, when we had 3 wins, when we had the worst defense in the league, when we had no D-line, no pass rush, no run stopping, our secondary was trash, our wide receivers were trash, our running backs were okay, they were good, they were all right, but they weren't anything special. Our O-line was terrible. The one good thing we had was Justin Fields, who made football, even in a 3-win season, made Bears football, watchable. Even though I didn't watch every single game, I at least wanted to see Justin Fields on the field, making plays, running around defenders, spinning out of sacks, and breaking all these tackles, taking it 60 yards to the house. It seemed like almost every single game. That was fun football. Even when we were losing and we were actively tanking so we can get that number 1 pick, there's still that one thing to look forward to. And now this season, even if we win 3 games like last year, I mean, what's it for? We have a much better roster than last year. Much better roster. You cannot tell me that the roster is still the same level. It is not. When you add guys like TJ Edwards, when you add guys like Tremaine Edmonds, Andrew Billings, DeMarcus Walker, DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Nate Davis, when you draft rookies like Tyreek Stevenson, Javon Dexter, Darnell Wright, who's doing pretty decent. But when you add all those pieces and you still can't get better, and as a matter of fact, you regress, that is a problem. And that is an organizational problem. Which is why I refuse to put most of the blame on the players. We could say, I do place a lot of blame on Fields, don't get me wrong. And I do place a lot of blame on the lack of effort from our players. But first and foremost, if I had to pick one thing, it is the organization, specifically the coaching. The coaching is absolutely terrible. I cannot remember a time. You can go back to Matt Nagy, who won Coach of the Year in 2018. He at least has that under his belt. You have the Mark Trestman era, who I believe we were second. We were a top 5 offense the first year he was in the league. And we had John Fox, who, wasn't good, but I mean, you can go back as far as I don't even know when. Every coach had at least one side of the ball competent. We at least had maybe a defense or a decent offense. We never had a great quarterback, but we've had decent ones. We had decent QB play when Jay Cutler was in the league. 2018 Mitchell Trubisky. All these guys, man, that have come before Matt Eberflus. And this is by far the worst head coach that I've seen as a Bears fan. I don't know how far, maybe the the 60, 70, 80-year-old Bears fans can tell me different, but man, at least for me, a 23-year-old Bears fan, this is the worst head coach I've ever seen for our Bears. This is worse than Matt Nagy. I'm not even kidding you. If he's not gone by the end of the year, if the Bears remain at this trajectory, which is probably a 1-16, 0-17 season, I'm not even kidding you on that. If we remain on this trajectory, Matt Eberflus needs to be gone by the end of the season. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think he should be gone midway through the season, to be honest. I mean, what has he shown? Also, Luke Getsy needs to be gone. Alan Williams is gone, obviously, but looks like that didn't really matter. Matt Eberflus didn't do much better than him. Honestly, probably did worse, to be honest. What has he brought to the table? Matt Eberflus had a 3-win season last year, and I gave him a pass because we had a terrible roster, and we didn't have a great roster to begin with, in the beginning of that season, but once we got rid of Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn, it went to crap real fast. But, I gave him a pass for that season because we didn't have the talent for it. Now that we did, I had such high expectations for Luke Getsy, who found what worked. That is the most upsetting thing about our offense, is we found what worked last year in a year that we had way less pieces than we do right now. And we finally have a number one receiver in DJ Moore. Then we finally have, on paper, decent O-linemen. I know injuries or whatever, but even then, we have Roschon Johnson, who we refuse to use still. I have no idea why. We don't want to use him. We have so much more pieces this year. Last year, we figured out how to use Justin Fields. And yes, we use his legs. And people want to say, yeah, that's not long-term success, using your QB's legs because of injury concern. I don't care. I don't care how we win games. If Justin Fields puts up 40 points a game because he's rushing for 200 yards a game and passing for 5 yards a game, I do not care. I just want us to win. If that's what it takes for the Bears to win games, I don't care. He can pass the ball backwards for all I care. He can go blindfolded and just run around like it's a Madden game for all I care. If that's what wins us games, I do not care. And it's like the media got to Luke Getsy's head. And when the media calls Justin Fields a running back, oh, he can't even pass the ball. And now we just took away his running abilities as if that was a negative thing. It is very much a positive thing for a quarterback to be mobile, to have that ability to escape the pocket when it breaks down, especially when you have our O-line. If it was, the Packers O-line or the Lions O-line, sure, but not our O-line. You got to move out the pocket, man. And for some reason, Luke Getsy decided to take away what worked last year and make it worse. I don't understand what he's trying to do. I don't even understand. I can't get anything out of this. I can't look at the tape and say, maybe he's trying to do this. Maybe he's trying to do this different because last year this didn't work and last game doesn't. No, he's just coming up with stuff. I don't know how he got this job. I don't really know what he said in an interview or what he did to gain, or what he even did to where anyone wanted to give him a shot at play calling. I don't know what he did in Green Bay. We all know it was Matt Eberflus, and it all makes sense, guys. When Matt Eberflus was hired, I wasn't really a fan. I didn't even know who he was, to be honest. Same thing with Luke Getsy, quarterback coach. I mean, if he was an offensive coordinator there, if he was, someone who was actually had success calling plays before, but he had Aaron Rodgers, man. Of course he's going to make him look good. Matt Eberflus, man, I don't know who he was. We're taking guys that have no experience whatsoever, and look what's turned out. I get it that sometimes it can work. And also, we took a defensive-minded head coach, too. I get, yeah, Sean McDermott's out there, and Pete Carroll, whatever, the defensive-minded coaches that were able to produce. But even then, those are rare situations where they work. I mean, it hasn't worked at all. I mean, he didn't even bring defense. We got a defensive-minded head coach, and he doesn't even bring defense. And it's not like last year's squad. Like I said, we got better players this year. I know that we're not a top 10 unit this year. We might not even be a top 15 unit just on paper. But man, we just look like the same bottom 3 defense that we've looked like for the past year and a half. What do you do? What are they doing, should I say, to prepare for these games, to prepare their players for the matchup ahead? This hits principle, what is it? This hits principle has done nothing. What principle is it? To just be a trash defense? What do you do? Poor Justin Fields, man. If you look at the press conferences and stuff, man, he looks dead. A man with no confidence, a man whose soul was just literally ripped out of him. Because that's what Chicago does. That's what the Bears do to them. That's what the Bears do to Chicago quarterbacks, and now we're just doing it to the rest of our players. DJ Moore dropped a pass yesterday. Our defense played terrible. Chase Claypool couldn't fight for the ball like he did back in Pittsburgh. You can't tell me that these players just got magically worse. especially now that Fields looks worse than he did his rookie year. I would actually take rookie year Fields over Justin Fields now. Whatever Matt Nagy was doing, even though it was terrible, Matt Eberflus found a way, and Luke Getsy too, found a way to make Justin Fields worse than when he came into the league. How do you do that? How do you end up making a guy worse, especially after you found out what worked? Especially after you found out that his legs were useful at helping us win games when other coaches were telling him to stop running too damn much because it's too much for their defense to handle. When they were saying, damn it, we can't contain this guy. He's doing too much. And even through all that, we still say, nope, we're not going to go with what worked. Why would we do that? We're not going to go with what worked. We're going to go with our way, our new and improved, innovative way. And look what's happened. I'm sorry, guys, but there's nothing really to take away from this game other than just the season's pretty much done. I don't see us turning this thing around. There's a difference between just underperforming just because you're not a good squad, or you just, need to get settled into the season, and just being straight up incompetent. This is one of those seasons where you just know that dark cloud is just above us now, and you can't see any light at the end of the tunnel. The only light at the end of the tunnel is the fact that now we have a shot once again at getting the first overall pick and maybe drafting Caleb Williams. If one, he even wants to come to Chicago, and two, if we don't ruin him like we do with every QB that comes to Chicago. And I'm very certain that one of those two things will happen. Life sucks as a Bears fan. It is sad. For those of you who are Bears fans, like myself, please seek out therapy, because we're gonna need it. Whatever ways and means you have of making yourself not depressed for the rest of the season, go ahead and do it, because it's gonna be a long one, folks. Gonna be a long one. I'm out.